Broja Alfred Yoron Mudi, the host and producer of the Weekly Review, making sense of relevant topics and news. It is a program of Sawasawa Network. Welcome to this episode for the second week of September. In his address to the nation on the 9th anniversary of South Sudan's independence, about 2 months ago, President Salva Kiir said, quote, "Work is underway through the Rome process to further consolidate the ceasefire by securing a final political settlement with the holder groups," unquote. Today, we shall be looking at the recent reports of clashes between the South Sudan Defense Forces and the National Salvation Front under General Thomas Shirilo, with a view of making sense of and finding solutions to the crisis, taking into account the Rome peace process being pursued between the government and the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance through the community of St. Egidio. This means we shall be looking at three broad issues related to the topic. They are: 1. What exactly is SOMA, the coalition of opposition parties, per their documents, as well as the ongoing peace process through the community of St. Egidio. 2. The issue of recent clashes versus commitments of the parties to the ceasefire and cessation of hostilities agreement. 3. Basic steps towards a comprehensive agreement that could lead to lasting peace in the country. Well, first of all, I should let you, the audience, know that SOMA spokesperson Kwaje Lasso had agreed to be on this show today, but he communicated in the last minutes that it is not possible for him to appear on the program due to unexpected changes in his schedule. I also tried to bring him on the show on different occasions since June this year to answer to matters of concern to the public and relevant bodies regarding SOMA, reports of clashes, and the long peace process. However, he failed to turn out, citing excuses every now and then. Nonetheless, the show shall go on today, making sense of available facts. And now, straight to the first issue. The answer from available facts as follows. The South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance first came into existence through the Declaration of Principles, which was signed on August 30th, 2019 in The Hague, the Netherlands, by General Thomas Shirilo in his capacity as chairman of South Sudan National Democratic Alliance, Pagana Mumo Kech in his capacity as leader of Real Sudan People Liberation Movement, RSPLM, and General Paul Malongawan in his capacity as chairman and commander-in-chief, South Sudan United Front, that is SSUF-A. It is worth pointing out that at the time, the South Sudan National Democratic Alliance was known to be comprising of General Shirilo's National Salvation Front, NAS, Hakim Dario's People's Democratic Movement, PDM, Gatwich Thich's United Democratic Republican Alliance, UDRA, Emmanuel Aban's National Democratic Movement, NDM, and Vikindi Umvu's South Sudan National Movement for Change, SSNMC. Among many principles, the parties that make up the South Sudan Opposition Alliance agreed upon on that August 30th document were the following: that they commit to work together and to abide by the following principles and objectives. Quote, number 1, end the South Sudan civil war by addressing the root causes of the conflict and seeking a permanent solution to the insecurity and humanitarian disaster. 2. Free South Sudan from the grip of ethnic chauvinism, nepotism, despotic oppression, and institutionalized corruption. 3. Develop a common unified position to address the conflict in South Sudan. 4. Establish a strong democratic federal system of governance based on the devolution of powers and resources to lower levels of government, unquote. Plus many other principles, of course. The second document about the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance, SOMA, is the communique issued on 20th November 2019 in Rome, Italy, after SOMA held a meeting with the community of St. Egidio. Among others, the communique says SOMA is thankful, quote, for the continuous outstanding empathy and affection shown to the suffering people of South Sudan by His Holiness Pope Francis and the Archbishop of Canterbury, His Grace Justin Welby. 2. Convinced that the conflict in South Sudan is political in nature and requires political solution through constructive and genuine dialogue. 3. Welcomed the IGAD Council of Ministers resolution on South Sudan of November 10, 2019 that directed the Special Envoy of South Sudan to engage with the non-signatories of the revitalized agreement. 4. Called upon the community of St. Egidio to continue to engage SOMA, the government of the day, and the signatories of the revitalized agreement. 5. Also ask the community of St. Egidio to urgently engage with regional and international partners to make this dialogue process a success, unquote. What followed was the January 2020 Rome Declaration on the peace process in South Sudan, whereby the government of the Republic of South Sudan and the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance, with representatives of SPLM AIO and NDM as witnesses and IGAD as observer, after holding their official engagement under the auspices of the community of St. Egidio in Rome, made a number of declarations. The declaration says its signatories, quote, convinced that the current conflict in the Republic of South Sudan requires a comprehensive political engagement in order to achieve inclusivity and sustainable peace with the non-signatories of the revitalized agreement. In this regard, agreed that the dialogue shall continue under the auspices of St. Egidio in consultation with IGAD and with the support of regional organizations and the international community, unquote. That its signatories, quote, solemnly declare to recommit and adhere to the cessation of hostilities agreement of December 2017 to avoid any further armed confrontation across the country by the signatories and non-signatories, so as to create a conducive environment for dialogue to resolve the conflict, and that this shall come into effect on the 15th of January 2020. Unquote. That, quote, in this regard, we request the community of St. Egidio to convene a meeting with IGAD as soon as possible to discuss issues related to monitoring and verification. Here, in the January 2020 Rome Declaration, changes with regards to the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance are as follows. 1. Thomas Shirulosok has signed the declaration as a member of the Leadership Council of Soma and chairman of National Salvation Front. While in the August 30th Declaration of Principles reached in the Netherlands, I mentioned earlier, and through which the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance came into existence, General Thomas Cirulo Swaka signed in his capacity as chairman of South Sudan National Democratic Alliance, SSNDA. Two, Pagana Mukech this time signed the January 2020 declaration as a member of the Leadership Council of Soma and interim chairman of Real SPLM, while in the August 30th Declaration of Principles reached in the Netherlands, I mentioned earlier, and through which the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance came into existence, Pagana Okech signed in his capacity as leader of Real Sudan's People's Liberation Movement at SPLM. Number three, Emmanuel Yohannes Yor Akola Jawen, this time signed as interim Secretary General of Soma and chairman of NDM-PF. The party that was part of the South Sudan National Democratic Alliance, SSNDA, at the time of Soma declaration was simply known as NDM. Number four, Paul Malonga signed the January 2020 Rome Declaration as member of the Leadership Council of Soma and chairman of South Sudan United Front Stroke Army. Here there is no major difference, only that the title Commander-in-Chief used in the August 30th Declaration of Principles reached in the Netherlands has not been mentioned. Still on the changes with regards to Soma, the South Sudan Opposition Alliance, in the January 2020 Rome Declaration, now point number 5, David Tut Kwei signed the January 2020 Rome Declaration as member of Soma and member of UDRM-A. Here, it is worth mentioning that the name of the party that was part of the South Sudan National Democratic Alliance, SSNDA, at the time of Soma Declaration was United Democratic Republican Alliance, UDRA, led by Gathwich Thich. Number 6, Vikindi Umvu signed the January 2020 Rome Declaration as a member of Soma and chairman of SSNMC. Here there is no change in the name of the party, SSNMC, that was part of the South Sudan National Democratic Alliance, SSNDA, at the time of Soma Declaration. However, it is worth pointing out that a faction of SSNMC under the former Governor Bakasoro and current minister in the revitalized agreement, in the revitalized transitional government of national unity, is part of the revitalized agreement and part of the government at the moment. Number 7, Hakim Dario's People's Democratic Movement was part of the South Sudan National Democratic Alliance at the time of Soma Declaration. Did not individually sign the January 2020 Rome Declaration like some of his colleagues. Any special reason? Perhaps. While there are reports of clashes recently between government forces, the South Sudan People's Defense Forces and the government forces, the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, and the National Salvation Front under General Thomas Cirulo, and while we as our Sawasawa network recognize that we don't have journalists in the areas of the reported clashes, and we don't have drones or other equipment to verify which side is telling the truth, we believe that through the weekly review, we could make sense of available facts to offer opportunities for dialogue and finding solutions to the crisis. This brings the program to the latest document in the peace process involving the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance. It is known as the Rome Resolution on Monitoring and Verification of the Cessation of Hostilities Agreement 2017. The Rome Resolution on Monitoring and Verification of the Cessation of Hostilities Agreement 2017 was signed after the government of the Republic of South Sudan and the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance, pursuant to paragraph 9 of the Rome Declaration of 12th January 2020, held the second consultation meeting on monitoring and verification mechanism with the presence of delegations from SPLM, AIO, NDM, FDs, and some representatives from the other political parties, with RJMEC and the ceasefire monitors, UNMISS, and EUS observers under the auspices of the community of St. Egidio, in collaboration with the IGAD, a special envoy for South Sudan, in Rome, Italy, on 12th and 13th February 2020. The February 2020 Rome Resolution provides for representation of SOMA into the ceasefire transitional security arrangements monitoring and verification mechanism structures and joint monitoring of compliance of the parties to the cessation of hostilities agreement. Okay. In an interview in early June, the spokesperson of South Sudan United Front Stroke Army, Emmanuel Sandeli John, who said he doubles as a member of Leadership Council of SOMA, told me, quote, SOMA has been represented in the ceasefire transitional security arrangements monitoring and verification mechanism, CTs, SAM-MV, in principle, as per Rome Resolution. This took long because it required approval by IGAD Council of Ministers, since CT SAM-MV is instrument of IGAD, and they did not, and they did that in their virtual meeting of April 23rd, 2020. This led to the CT SAM-MV chair writing to IGAD, special envoy of SOMA, inclusion into the mechanism, and who in turn wrote to community of St. Egidio, the mediators, to let us select the individual representatives to all levels of CT SAM-MV, namely the board, technical committee, sectors, and monitoring and verification sites. SOMA is already selecting its members, about 15 in number, in accordance with the state resolution and in line with the cessation of hostilities agreement of December 2017, unquote. When I continued and asked him when is the selection of SOMA representatives to the city SAM-MV expected to conclude, and how soon will SOMA start being practically on the ground as part of the ceasefire monitors, he simply said as soon as possible. Other than that, it is the impact of coronavirus derailing the process. Well, right now it is already September, and there is no fact indicating that SOMA is now on the ground as part of the ceasefire monitors, while reports of clashes continue. Another thing about SOMA in the peace process worth mentioning is that the Rome Resolution on monitoring and verification of the cessation of hostilities agreement was signed by Thomas Cirillo in his capacity as a member of the Leadership Council of SOMA and Chairman of the National Salvation Front. Only him, no other SOMA member party signed the Rome Resolution. However, an indication was included in the document saying Cirillo was that Cirillo signed the document for SOMA, the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance. In conclusion, ensuring implementation of peace agreements in South Sudan have never been easy. The matters raised throughout the show regarding the naming of parties, changes in their names, the changes in the capacity or titles of their leaders, and which party is party to which alliance or coalition are very important concerns that require rectifications and clarity if no party or individual leader wants to wake up one day and realize that they have been cheated. Right now, a number of parties to the revitalized agreement are being criticized that they lack internal democracy within their parties or coalitions or alliances, and that some of them have made their parties operate like personal organizations or personal properties. If the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance wanted to be different, and most importantly, if they are in favor of protecting the peace process and any expected final agreement from abuses or violations by those party or by one party, a faction of a party, or any conspirator seeking to frustrate implementation of reforms that may be provided for in such a final agreement, the rectifications and clarity that have to be done on those issues raised here. Providing for power sharing percentages alone have never been enough in South Sudan. To ensure lasting peace, each party or alliance should develop, adopt, and as I always propose, deposit their internal constitution or rules and regulations with the bodies responsible for the peace process and implementation of the final agreement that is expected. The wrong process could also explore ways of adopting that formula for all, including the parties to the revitalized agreement who are participating as witnesses. Lasting peace is possible in South Sudan when all the parties are brought together under a comprehensive agreement that complements existing positive peace efforts. With that, dear viewer, we have come to the end of the show for this week. My name is Roger Alfred Yoron Modi. Thank you for watching.